This video is made possible thanks to support from PNW Components, Industry 9, and Jenson USA. Let's get into the video. When most people think of Mexico City, mountain biking is certainly not what comes to mind. Interbike in 2015, I met a former attorney turned mountain bike lifestyle professional named Jorge De Avila.
I was working as a lawyer in a TV network company.
And he explained to me that the city is actually a hotspot for mountain biking.
5 years ago, those thousands of people riding up there, there were 25.
Yeah, 20.
Like 32.
And you knew every single person.
Yeah.
It's clearly changed a lot.
Yeah, it's really nice. Everything has changed a lot.
And grown a ton. When we were here yesterday, there was probably 5 cars here in the parking lot. And now there's 100. Most of them have bike racks, tailgate pads, Canfield sticker. There's the stand. Hola! That growing scene, along with the story of how Mao and his brothers have been carrying their late father's torch by sharing the sport with others, is a great fit within this local Loam series.
Okay.
I like your sombrero there.
Some style.
Yeah.
My father died, but he was still doing or trying to do the trip thing, this montaña. Never actually had financial success. He was very happy and explored the whole country and rode to the end of his life. But after all, I was like, I want to keep doing this, you know, for him and my brothers and my family and stuff, so I kept doing it.
This trip took place a while ago, back in January 2020, when Logan and I needed to escape the snowy and wet Pacific Northwest winter at home. I wanted to get to know Mao a little bit better, and I wanted to meet his brothers, Jorge and Santi.
Initially, it was like a simulator for a hang glider, what's the word for takeoff?
Takeoff for hang gliding.
I was a lawyer at that time.
Okay.
And I was doing this in my free time, whatever that is, because I had none of it, you know, weekend.
We planned out an amazing visit with time to spend at their family bike park, as well as on some public trails that these three, along with many others, have helped improve over the years.
No trails, there were no trails, there were just, you know, my dad used to ride dirt roads and single tracks wherever he found some, you know?
Mm-hmm. My own first trip to Mexico was over 21 years ago to visit a Mexican family friend's wedding, where he skydived into the ceremony. It was that trip that inspired me to pay attention in Spanish class and eventually to study abroad in Spain. However, I wouldn't return to mainland Mexico until late 2017, and I was blown away at the massive economic growth in that short time. Also in 2017, Logan and I set out on our first ever filming trip to ride the Nevado de Toluca and around Ixtapan de la Sal, also in Mexico.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Camera okay?
Yeah, we're good. You good?
Yeah.
You might have seen that video from the trip, but if not, I'll link to it down below. But this visit, after a 2-year hiatus, was to experience what makes the locals sing the many praises of two-wheeled life well above Mexico City, and also to meet the rest of the De Avila brothers. Mexico City is surrounded by enormous mountains. I'd studied some basic Mexican geography and had heard of these mountains, but what I hadn't heard about was the sheer size of the mountain biking scene. While the scene is very big, it's also still somewhat tight-knit. As I met more and more Mexican riders, I'd ask them if they knew my friend Mao, and most would confirm that yes, they did. If they hadn't heard of Mao, they were likely very familiar with the company he and his brothers run called De Avila Biking Co. The story of how De Avila Biking Co. originally got started is pretty cool, so let's jump into it.
Works for wheelies.
Before we'd hit the high altitude single track, first we were gonna meet Santi and Jorge.
This whole area, this land, it's actually a landing strip. My uncles and other friends used to have an ultralight plane down here. This was the hang glider takeoff, and that was the landing and takeoff strip.
The rolling was off limits.
Well, not the roof, but like the terrain here,
okay.
because we never knew if somebody was gonna come and land here. So you couldn't have like a kicker in the middle of the field, because perhaps like an ultralight was going to come and land. We had like I think it was an 8-pack there of dirt jumps, and we had to build like this kind of funky tree house, and that was a rolling, so you have to climb to a tree, and then there was just like 3 boards and you would have to just drop in from there.
So De Avila family tradition is a rad roll-in of some type.
Exactly.
Cool.
There's actually a video from us learning backflips on the sketchiest jump ever. Obviously a crash video. But eventually we got the backflip.
You guys all rode together as kids growing up.
Yeah.
Always.
So my dad actually started us onto this.
Yeah.
I learned how to ride a bike when I was 2 years old with my training wheels.
Yeah.
Then when I was like 2.5, I just took them off and I would ride all over the house. And I remember I always watched my dad go to the mountain, and that's what I want to do. So when I was like perhaps 4 or 5 years old, I think that was my first time hitting the mountain trails. And then like at 6, I started competing on XC cross country.
Okay.
I hated it. Yeah.
That's fair.
To the point I started faking I wasn't feeling okay because I didn't want to compete anymore. And so yeah, like I would do good, but I didn't like it. It was just not my thing. Started as a hobby for my dad, but then he turned it into his like main activity. Since that age, I remember my dad would say to us, you know, you want like, I don't know, a couple bucks, come here and help me teach my students how to ride a bike, like how to do wheelies or how to do like little jumps. And so I remember I was like, I don't know, 10, 11 years old, and I was trying to teach people how to do stuff on bikes. And then we started guiding on the mountains. Exactly what we do now, but it would be with my dad and we would help him out. And so yeah, ever since I can remember, we've been on mountain bikes.
I obviously was born into a mountain bike family, so I didn't have a choice and I didn't want another choice.
Do you think he'd be really proud to see what you guys have grown it into today?
I think so, yeah.
This bike park has been here for 6 years. We're not planning on stopping anytime soon.
Oh God. I need to borrow a fork from someone. Way cool. Well, thanks for showing us around. Thanks for having us to the compound here, the De Avila Bike Park.
Our pleasure.
Anytime.
Tires in the dirt.
Nice.
Send it.
Let's go.
I want to get a little higher up.
That looks good.
Oh, don't go that way. That's basically it.
That's it. Yeah.
I knew that was going to be the hardest part. On that crash after the Bubika, lost my brake lever entirely, flipping over the bars. Let's go look for a brake lever. Let's go visit Eric. We're at Eric's custom garage. Eric's been helping us out a ton. He's got this beautiful shop here. He really knows his stuff. We can't find a Shimano lever, but we did find a SRAM lever, so we have to cut the Shimano lever apart so we can still use it as a clamp for the Shimano I-Spec shifter. It's gonna have a mix of Shimano SRAM for the rest of the day. First test of the new SRAM brake. Oh, it doesn't feel bad. Cool. That's a lot better than no brakes. I'll go see. That looks good. All pintado y todo. Oh, nice. Completely custom clamp made out of the old brake lever, and then boom, fits right within the temporary brake. We can get back on the trail and ride, but we can't crash. This is the last spare brake in Mexico.
works for wheelies.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Any food?
Yeah, I could eat.
If you've been following the Local Loam series, you probably know it's all about promoting advocacy groups. And yes, this episode is slightly different. As the brothers explained to me, organizing a formal political group like an advocacy coalition is somewhat dangerous in a country like Mexico. The company the brothers inherited from their father, the De Avila Biking Co, has tasked itself more with growing the sport in Mexico than with anything else. And right there, we have an excellent example of turning a problem, a danger, into an opportunity. Let's head onto the single track to taste some of that fine Mexican dirt that the scene loves just so much.
It's full of single track. All these mountains here in Mexico, it's full of single track because that's how people used to move around the areas. But I wanted to keep his thing going. Well, I started riding at a really young age. We learned like at 4. We were riding on trails at 4. And this has been one of the main natural areas that Mexico City has really close by. But then when I moved here to study law school to Santa Fe, I knew of this place. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna ride here, and started riding here. And when I was started riding here on a daily basis, there was nearly no one here. Like on weekends, there were like 20, 30 people. Yeah, there were no trails. There were just like paths, you know, and like with logs and shit. So I started to get tired to just get off my bike or whatever. So I bought a chainsaw and started clearing the trails.
Your rim.
There we go. Simón, te toca a ti. That's fun. Whoa, oi! Ahí está. Oh yeah!
And then people were like, oh, that's cool, thank you. And I was like, you know, this place could really be something, you know. And it's huge, you know, it's huge. It has so many different aspects to it, and zones, and even climates, microclimates. So I was like, we need to build trails here. And it's close to the city, and so many different things that when you get them together, you get something like Squamish, you know.
There you go. Oh. CrossFit. Oh yeah. Yeah. There we go. Like this, and then right there. Oh,
you got it.
the real hardest part is the transfer.
It's crazy, man. I started like 2016. At the same time, it was like when my father died, more or less the same time. So I wanted to keep his thing going. He started coaching and guiding and just exploring, you know. After, I don't know, like a year of trying it and doing the guiding trip company and stuff, I was like starting to see small changes in, you know, more people coming. Social media helped a lot, you know. More bike brands came in here, and there were more bike shops. So that's when I realized that it could grow to the point of being an actual industry. So we started building trails, and now, like 5 years forward, it's crazy. It's just, man, those 30 people a week just turned into 1,000.
So today's a Saturday. We're at the Desierto de Leones, and you can clearly see that it is downright crowded. 4 or 5 cars yesterday, probably 100 cars today. Almost every car has a bike rack, tailgate pad, whatnot. The scene's blowing up. It's pretty cool.
So that was the dream growing up, but at the same time, my father was trying to do it, you know, and there was no one riding, there was no scene, there was no industry, so he barely made it. So growing up, I was like, well, I won't be able to be a pro rider because that's just not possible, so I went to law school and shit. With my father, that I wanted to like continue his thing, and that was a big motivation at that precise moment. So I wanted to have fun, you know, I wanted to be out here, and I wasn't even thinking much about the future, you know. I was like, I'll just go for it, you know.
This is amazing. I never believed that. You told me that the riding in Mexico City is good, and I'm like, sure, everyone says city riding is good. I've ridden by cities, it's not that great. And you're spot on, you're totally right. And like, there's huge altitude, 12,500 feet for the start, you drop down to 9,000 feet. Like, we're out here. I had no idea. So it's been awesome seeing exactly what it is. It's better than I expected.
Thank you, Jeff. It's been a rad time. And yeah, it's a surprise for a lot of people.
An excellent barometer of the health of any particular riding scene is the amount of youth involvement. One of my favorite aspects of the De Avila family attitude was that of instructing newer riders on how to safely enjoy the sport. Kids programs are a backbone of the company. And no, even though my audience is primarily from the United States, the De Avila Biking Co. isn't really set up to guide out-of-towners like myself. Instead, its goal is to offer turnkey solutions for locals to get into mountain biking, take some guided rides, and have a simple lesson. We hit the trails on a typical Saturday morning and were blown away by the popularity of mountain biking. While this is not the result of any single effort, it's the great sign of how once the ball gets rolling, it begins to accumulate more and more momentum, and eventually turns into a self-sustaining thing that can withstand the inevitable challenges.
Roca! How long have you known Mao and his brothers?
Yeah, I think so, like 5 years.
Okay.
And then Jorge, he teach me how to the real technique to the descent.
Wait, you've ridden Whistler, right?
Yeah, in Squamish.
In Squamish?
Yeah.
So when you're here in Mexico City riding, you've got all these good spots. Do you ever get bored of riding the same trails?
No, because there's a lot of spots to ride here. We have Desierto of Leones, we have Chiluca and Ajusco.
Yeah.
And we have a lot places to biking.
I didn't hear you out of breath once, and I couldn't keep up and just saw you ride off into the sunset. That was awesome. Cool.
But yes, we are Mexican power.
Humberto, really nice to meet you, and thank you for showing us your trails.
Thank you, nice to meet you, Jeff.
Perfecto, muchas gracias, Humberto.
No, ¿de qué?
Fue fantástico. Cool. Has Mexico City, has it changed over the last few years as a riding destination?
Yeah, it changed a lot. Actually, most of the people used to ride outside Mexico City.
Outside of the city?
Yeah. Or like in other states.
Okay.
Like they have a lot of practice of cross-country biking. So like 5 years ago,
sure,
the enduro mainstream, or the, how you call it, moda?
Movement, I don't know.
Yeah, the movement or the wave, the tendency
sure,
of enduro came five years ago.
Okay.
So I think the best places for riding enduro are here in Mexico City.
Wow.
Here in Desierto de los Leones. So I think in 5 years we're gonna have more trails here in the Desierto.
Cool. Well, Aldo, it's been super fun. Thank you for showing me around.
No, the pleasure is mine.
I've been in awe of Mexican culture for many years, and our experience filming this episode only furthered my impressions of this beautiful country and incredible people. The way the De Avila brothers pivot their father's company into something that is establishing the sport as a keystone in one of the world's largest cities is something really special, and I want to thank them for their hospitality. I'd also like to thank my own sponsors, Jenson USA, PNW Components, and Industry 9. These brands make it possible for me to bring stories like this to you, and for that, I'm honored. Thank you all for watching, and if you haven't yet, hit that red subscribe button just below. My name is Jeff Kendall-Weed, and this is Local Loam.